Well, hello. I thought I would like to leave a message for my friends at this state to share with where I am, and I have some offerings and suggestions about what you might consider practicing. As most of you may know, I've been practicing the integration of opposites back through the iris: jewel, flower, stream, shaker, left brain, right brain, masculine, feminine. Well, really for the last 40 years about how that works. So now in this rendition of the RAYID approach, cycles and seasons, I've been practicing since the September in the Northern Hemisphere, the autumn month, and have gone through a month of two girl, first month of autumn, four girl, second month, six girl, third month, and I'm also have been going through the 3 months of winter. One boy, first month, three boys, second month, and the month I'm on now is the last month of winter, which, by the way, now takes the entire topography of the mother's family and begins to acknowledge and unify them. Let me show you a graphic for a moment. Here's a little bit of one of the displays of how it works. These balls and their corresponding numbers, they correspond to the entire family tree. And each one of these balls corresponds to a different month and a different set of 2 hours in the day, a gland, an organ, a body system, a grandparent. Those of you who are familiar with the system, you understand how this moves. So the process of identifying the two girl month of autumn as being the entry into this circuitry. Now, the inside of this white line is the mobilization of our feelings as they passed through patterns of time. That can be an hour, that can be a month, that can even be a breath. But this process of being able to identify for 1 month, two girl, is a sacred experience. I urge you to consider, those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, that time is arriving at the equinox. I suggest you start practicing now to catch the feeling and to develop intentionally a stronger desire to two girl feel. And eventually that extends into empathy, creative imagination, but it individualizes your own capacity to feel. Lots can be said about that. The second part of that is also the four girl experience, which is the metamorphosis, the change, the transition, the filtering, the transparency, the invisibility, lots of different things there, including grace and forgiveness. This four girl transition opens up number 6. 2 opens 4, 4 opens 6. If you follow these in sequence, you're going to give yourself a self-actualized gift. This flow of 2, 4, and 6 is something that is absolutely essential for all of us to learn. This is not a creative thing I have done. This is my effort to identify what the existence of spiritual reality actually feels like when we start to put it into graphics like this for education. So two girl, feeling, four girl, transformation, the desire to change. This also corresponds to sunset, the peace of the evening, merging into that time period where we go from vertical to horizontal, or we go from the material world into the spirit world, or we go to sleep. So that process is essential because in the process of doing 2 into 4, we open up the inspirational capacity of the light. 6 girl, which is essentially the opening of the heavens. 2, 4, and 6. Now, the inspirational functions is what comes next, the humility, the increase of the capacity for innocence, if you will, some purity, some aspects of being able to focus that line. If you see the white line running through this, I call it the eye of the needle is at 3, where we orient all future actions of our choices through the instrument of truth. That leads to number 5, which is, by the way, the 2 hours before sunrise. These 6 women and men from the mother's side of the family, they are instruments for you to be able to learn. I'm going to come back now to the other one that you saw, the other image. I'll be right back. Here's a different view of the first 3. We're utilizing this imagery, the blue being the 2-girl experience of the desire to feel my own feelings, directly pointed to the orientation of the heart. Hence, this angle of the view shows it coming directly to you rather than a sideways view, but I wanted to give you the perspective. So if I sincerely desire to want to feel, it opens up the experience of transformation or the ability to change, which means to receive what I can receive or leave what I can leave. There are many different skill sets in that 4th one that are very important to identify, and you do that mostly on the 2nd month of the autumn season. The 3rd part is the spiritual awakening function of feeling, going from the material world, transitioning into the spirit world, where the greater light of the stars is available for our orientation. I know that sounds like a mouthful, but these 3, they produce an instrument for you to be able to process each moment should you choose to do so. And it really doesn't matter so much what that moment is if you're willing to feel the presence of what is occurring now. So if there's a feeling that occurs, that's a trigger, some emotional trigger that comes to us through the law of attraction, I'm now going to sincerely desire to want to feel it. And in many ways, it's like a rolling fluid wave, a watery feeling touching the heart and washing. Won't matter where it goes, don't worry about that. Just for now, let it move through. The second part of that is almost like an ocean. It's a process of a deeper transformation of the same location as it really, like ocean waves, washes the sand on the beach. And that sand, by the way, is incorporated within the lining of the heart. So this process of being able to do the lake of peace, the ocean, and the transcendent purity of falling snow upon the heart. This is an acquired skill set. Until we take the full responsibility for all of our feelings, no matter what it is, we still have to learn individual responsibility. The gradual process of accepting the responsibility is go through the guidance of 6. Now you might say to yourself, show me the truth about this feeling and every feeling like it I've ever denied. Show me what's really underneath this feeling. Show me what I'm numb to. Show me what I'm denying. Now, the orientation of this is your sense of purpose, intention, or direction. Why would you do this? That's for you to determine. Why do you really want to feel and grow? It's your choice. So you can do it for personal health or success or happiness or relationships or prosperity. You can do it for whatever you want. I'm suggesting that the eye of the needle has to do with going through the eye of the needle with the sword of truth. So the sincere desire to know the truth about this feeling, and you might have a happy moment. Like I had a couple of happy moments this morning, but I also learned how to show me the truth about this feeling and every feeling like this I've ever denied. So show me the truth about this. Now I'm using my hands to show you a mobility of waves because it's literally what I do much of the time, not all the time. I sometimes just do it emotionally, but I'm showing you how to take it directly toward you in 3 different diameters of waves, and for you to recognize that these 3 waves, they have what we call diameters of inclusiveness. The first one is me, self. The second one is others. Typically, that is people around you, social phenomena, and that goes pretty high, by the way. And the third one is all, self, others, and all. Now, later on, that all takes on many different implications, but this is a self-actualized tool. I urge you to use this one now and develop it hourly as you can. Now, the new thing that did arrive for me in the middle of a personal COVID experience, in the middle of the experience of being, nearly comatose and, not really sure I was going to come out of it, the download comes that says, do this now, and then continue to do that. Well, I'm pointing to this gold heart. Now, I'm suggesting that you just experiment with how this feels. That is the certain capacity to be able to put your heart forward with a desire to want to give whatever your current capacity of range or feeling might be: happiness, celebration, joy, friendship, alliance, teamwork. Because there is a teamwork function in the 4-boy reality, because that's where it is. It has to do with the ability to gather together with fraternal experiences of people that you call friends and actually multiply and amplify these 3 other balls of feelings. I'm saying gifting friends. I would suggest that you start with the small handful of friends that you know have been around you your entire life, or the last 50 years or last 30 years, people that you know at some level, that you believe that you have a kindred heart with, no matter what they go through. You might just acknowledge them emotionally, socially, verbally if you want, and say thank you. Thank you for being part of my heartfelt experience. And why this is so important: in the same way that the physical heart is involved in circulating the presence of the blood or the soul throughout the physical body, we have the capacity to circulate a greater capacity to receive emotional conductivity, emotional sharing. And the math of 1 or 2 friends getting together is not arithmetic. It is exponential in ways I don't comprehend. So I would suggest that you move from there to other friends maybe more recently in your life, maybe even a new one, and you openly share your sincere desire to want to give and receive the appreciation of who they are. And for you, that can be whatever you're going through. It could be a happy moment of seeing something beautiful. It could be the birth of a child. It could be a memory you've had. It could be falling snow coming from around you, or the beauty of the desert. Anything that you feel that is emotionally conductive to your own heart, you can share that with specific individuals that are living and actual to you. My suggestion is that you get their permission to appreciate them more deeply, and that you can make a decision if you want to do that once, which is useful, or you might want to join in to the rhythm of time. At the very least, I would suggest once a week, because there is a 7-day rotation in the upper astral body at 7 days. So if you take a friend and every 7 days you do a few seconds, I urge you to, for now, keep it to less than 30 seconds, but closer to 15 seconds. I know that doesn't sound like much, but for the people I'm engaging with friends, I usually do a slow breath, inhale up, exhale down, and then do it again. And for me, that's about 15 seconds. Sometimes a little faster, sometimes a little longer. But it's in that moment that I'm recognizing the opportunity to share what I am with them for the purpose of giving, just uplifting. Now, the uplifting is giving them some of my attention and time, but what they do with it is entirely up to them. I'm not trying to change their color of their socks or their relationships, or I'm not trying to change their career or something. Just giving them more emotional attention to elevate their capacity to be able to use that life force to their complete liberation, whatever they would choose to do with that life force that I'm engaged in sending them. Now, that may sound odd to think that I'm going to sit down and emotionally feel some of my friends in different parts of the world, which I'm doing. And it's not really a matter I'm going to send it to Brazil or to Turkey or to Australia or somewhere else. It doesn't really need to travel anywhere because it's there instantaneously. Because we share a particular form of association with collective consciousness that our mind extends into. And you know how you've had experiences. You think of somebody and the phone rings. We've all done this so many different times, so many different ways. What I'd like to do is to show you a basic explanation of that with a simplified graphics. It's very simple. Let me show you. Here is obviously a person standing inside different colors. These colors are generally designed to represent different layers of your energetic field or aura. This is called so many different things. Your etheric, your astral, your spirit body, your mental body, your chi. There's many things that this is called. You can call it whatever you want. Now for me, the pink one bordering on the white, the pink one is soul. And the white one's spirit, but the individuality of my energy field, my soul has a skin on it. And that skin is virtually impervious and indestructible unless I have a desire to want to receive something. And we all have this naturally existing blue, which is an upper astral or upper mental realm. And this is the realm where telepathy and mind communication and many other instruments can arrive in that blue. So if I'm feeling the joy and wonder of the day, and I'm feeling somebody in Australia, and I'm doing that one person for 15 seconds, it arrives in the upper blue, which is the upper mental astral realms. And that place has, different layers to it, but this is where we go in the mass consciousness, where we arrange to meet other people to help bring us a law of attraction moment. No need to explain all the mechanics of it for now, but if I send somebody a beautiful feeling, it arrives like little snowflakes, arrives in their upper astral body. And depending on their willingness or desire to want to receive it, it either penetrates more deeply or not. So if you have a sincere desire to want to receive from a friend and you send to a friend, they send to you, it produces a rhythmic figure eight exchange of life force. And when it exchanges from one to the other, it multiplies its magnitude of effectiveness. That's just inside the blue. Now, just to get the idea of it, the blue, we'll call it spirit body, and your pink, called your soul, it goes with you when you sleep. What remains around you, in this case, is the etheric body, and it interfaces with your instinctual elements of your senses, and it will tell you if there's a loud noise outside or this or that or something happens. And when the etheric body vibrates, it will keep you awake. Lots of things to discuss about what it represents, because in many ways it represents the configuration of the plant kingdom. Meaning, it seems weird, but the plant kingdom interfaces the reality of the earth with the reality of light. Now, the etheric one is connected to your interior body, but it's quite protective. It doesn't let much in there unless it exactly matches something on the inside. Meaning, if you have a personal issue inside, then it's going to come in and affect your physiology, a gland, an organ, a body system. I don't mean to be too complex. There's another time to do the complexity, not right now. Here's what I suggest that you do at least periodically. Take your own soul-based feeling intention and put it inside your body. You can do a gland, an organ, a body system according to whatever the need might be. You feel a need to recognize or learn something about your kidney, your liver, your spleen. Go ahead and go there. You can do that. The other thing you might consider experimenting with is that inside your body you have, 35, they don't know exactly, trillion cells, 25 trillion blood cells, but you have only an estimate, of 300 to 400 million microorganisms inside the parameters of your physical body. Now, your attention is to them what the sun's influence is on the earth. So what the sun is to the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom to produce the vital sense of growing, whenever you put your attention inside your own microorganisms. I know it's odd to put your attention inside and momentarily say thank you to the microorganisms who are responsible for producing your vitamins, minerals, protein. They're the symbiotic relationship of how you occupy your physical matter. So the moment that you take your attention from where somebody maybe sent you something, and a little while later you aim it to go inside, it turns your resistant etheric body inward and gives you the conduit into utilizing the life force for wherever it is inside you might individually need. Whew. Now, here's also the caveat. The moment that you start to engage in the sincere desire to feel and to transform and to ask for divine wisdom or guidance or divine love, if you want to call it that, the moment you start to do that, it starts to expand your blue. Now, what I mean by that is it starts to expand the parameters of your senses, and it improves your capacity to receive your own law of attraction. That means the moment you start to expand, you're going to come into little boundaries I sometimes call electric fences or whatever it is. You're going to come into the boundaries of your current belief system. And then it's going to create little moments of interaction. It could be with a dog. It could be with a telephone call. It could be on the television. It could be, no matter what it is, you're going to have a cascading series of things to be sensitive to. Many times that sensitivity is sadness, grief, loneliness, or just plain numbness. You might notice in the middle of that you're eating extra sugar, or you're doing this, or you're having an alcohol, or you want to get high or something, because there are mechanisms designed to keep this energy suppressed. Phew. Hence, every time you have an interior sensation or an emotional trigger, practice the protocol of 2-girl, peace, 4-girl, transformation to receive this, the truth about it, the guidance from the upper level. Now it's going to do a remarkable thing. Imagine that there was a very large meteor heading directly to the planet, and it has the capacity to destroy all life on Earth. We would go up and try to, break it up or disperse it or whatever. You're actually doing the same thing with the events of the law of attractions coming to you personally. So if you make a sincere desire to want to grow and to process, it starts breaking up the genetically planned arrival of specific forms of emotional triggers and symptoms. Even a stroke or a heart attack or something else is already timed within the sequence of the law of attraction. But if you start to go up and say, show me the truth about this feeling I'm denying, it sends down pieces of this like confetti. And it gives you a chance to process it, because now you're going to consciously meet whatever it is that's affecting you. Phew. Now, I know that's a lot, but at least you can see where it is that's happening around you. And this blue one, by the way, it's usually about just off the length of your arms or a little further. It can be 30 feet wide if you're developed in some form or another. It can be huge or it can be small, but it's yours, whatever it is. Let me take you back to another graphic. I'll come back to end here, because remember, this is the basic instrument I'm suggesting that you use. Blue ball, personal responsibility for all the feelings that are happening. If you have a painful event with a child and you feel tragically grieved or anxious or whatever, it's not about the child. It's about you. And the cycling through of feelings coming through your family tree, that your personal responsibility to feel it gives you the opportunity to transform it when you ask for guidance about how to deal with something that's been coming through your family tree for generation after generation. The child is just giving you the opportunity to re-experience that emotion, so it's not necessary for you to unconsciously send it on to your grandchildren. Now, here's the other important part. Lean forward with your heart. I know that's an odd statement to make, but let me just give you the feeling of it. Go to the front of your heart and develop a sense of your own sincere desire to give with other people, but especially those people around you, especially those people that you earnestly want to have a relationship with, and especially those people that you call friends. Now, that's a leaning forward with a sincere desire to increase the magnitude of that. Yes, you can appreciate your friend as they currently exist in the nature of your relationship, but you can also begin to accelerate it. It's especially effective if you talk to them, get their permission, and maybe you even start to do the figurative sharing. lean forward with your heart while doing the cycles and seasons experience of the protocol of feel, transform, ask for help, find the eye of the needle of truth, and come out just a little bit more authentically you. Now that's where I am now. That's what I'm offering you to experiment with. And you know, those of you who've been around for 20 plus years, or some of you 40, and yes, some of you 50 years, you know I have a tendency to keep experimenting with what comes next, how it works. And my process is to, as openly as possible, to share that with you so that you can utilize it in your personal lives or personal practice. You can even be involved in sharing with other people to whatever degree you want. So, you know, if you give me a week or you give me a month, I'm going to have some new images and a better way to be able to experience it and share it. But I want you to know that the profound opportunity to call you friend is truly a treasure in my own life. Through this friendship, my own arterial circulation will be calculated and determined in the spirit world. Hence, I need to practice quite a lot to be able to circulate the experience of life here, right now, while I'm alive, while I'm breathing. And I want to do it with you. Okay. If you have some questions about that or how that works or some greater explanations, you can either text me publicly or privately, and we'll proceed onward. All right. Have a wonderful day, week, month. See you soon.